Hi, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope you had a great day. Today was a beautiful day. It rained all day, so I was inside, I was doing chores, and this is good because there's a lot I needed to do. And then my husband and I had to run out. But what I've wanted to come back and share with you, because I was talking to a friend I haven't spoken to in a long time, and we were chatting through private message, and she was talking about how crazy the food prices are and how crazy it is. She doesn't have the means to do what a lot of people are talking about storing up food and all this stuff. And this needs to be a reality check for all of us. I can't put up the amount of food others can. We live on a quarter-acre lot, and I don't have this huge farm that other people have. I don't have the resources that others do, but over the years, I have done preserving for years. So that's why I have jars. That's why I have a water bath canner. That's why I have a dehydrator. I got a new one last year, but I'm sticking with my old one right now because it uses less electricity. But I was trying to think, okay, I need to get this video out to you because people are struggling. Some of the things that they might have on hand might be crackers and peanut butter. Well, how do we keep our crackers from going stale? There's ways to do that. And so I'm going to show you how. And you can do it with your pastas. You can do it with your nuts, your cereals, your all your dry goods, including things that you might dehydrate. I dehydrate things from the freezer. I've been emptying out my freezer, so I've been dehydrating like corn and peas and all that kind of stuff. So let me show you what I'm doing. Now I got this idea, and I never would have even thought about it, but I got it from Heidi with Rain Country. Look her up on YouTube. She is fabulous to listen to, and she has a wealth of information because she's been doing this for a number of years, and it's almost like she's a soul sister because she does a lot of what I've already done. Some she's discovering that I've been doing for years, and vice versa. She's been doing it for years, and I'm learning from her. And that's what community is we are here to work with one another and to build each other up. So even though some of us cannot store up what others do, there are ways that we can try to find to help you out so that you can maybe store some of the basic things. So let's start with, I'm going to do the crackers next. I wanted to show you, I did this with cashews. Cashews is my favorite nut, but it doesn't like me. Like during the shutdown of the world, I had healthy foods on hand. But you know what? Cashews are not healthy when the nerves are calling you to eat something. Okay, I enjoy dark chocolate and I enjoy cashews, both of which have wonderful benefits for your health, but too much of a good thing is not good. So I gained some weight. I still have some to go. I think I've shared it before, but this here is very heavy. I'm going to show you the can it came out of. All right, this is a big can. It's 1 pound, 12 ounces. That's a lot of cashews. Score. But I got it because it was a good price. I checked the unit prices when I was purchasing this, and this was the best, the most cost effective. And so it was something I could afford that day on our budget. And so I picked it up. Now, mind you, a single serving is a quarter cup. During the world shutdown, quarter cup was not enough, and my scale, the doctor's scale, they all agree that was too much. So, but there's 180 calories in a quarter cup. So typically I just grab a small handful, but now I'm back to measuring, and I try to only grab a few. So and I feel better about it now because I'm more focused. Plus, the nice thing about putting foods up, working in the garden and stuff, my brain is so distracted, and I'm doing some positive stuff. And you know what I stopped doing? I stopped watching the news. I know a lot of people post a lot of stuff about what's going on in the world, and I see it, I read it, and I decide that there's nothing I can do about it except when I go to the voting, when I go to vote, I take that responsibility very seriously. But the other thing that I can do is just say, okay, we're going to have food shortages. What can we do to offset that? Some people can't buy a large canister of cashews. Some people can't even afford cashews. So I'm going to feel really blessed that I can. One of the things I do is I buy peanuts. I don't buy salted peanuts. So I store my peanuts this way as well. Peanuts my husband and I both enjoy. He doesn't like many nuts at all. I happen to like almost all of them. So I try to have a limit that are healthy for me. So I have some walnuts, peanuts, and cashews, and almonds. I could go on. But they're healthy fats, but too much of a good thing is bad for you. So I can my cashews. This I just got, so I feel like, ooh, I'm in heaven. The best thing about sealing it, when you take your serving size, whether it's a tablespoon or a quarter cup, make sure you seal it right up. That way you're not tempted to go back, because it'll remind you that you sealed it because you didn't need any more. That's just a tip for those of us who gravitate towards the kitchen when our stress levels are too high. So I take my weight gain as my responsibility, and so my responsibility to lose it is to be accountable for the food that I consume now. I'm aware of it. So this, you can either put the lid on if you want, but as in the previous one, if this is stored in a cold, damp place, this is going to get rusted. So I would recommend not doing that. But what you can do, like on the smaller jars, instead of putting the ring on, this here's corn. I'm just putting it. This will be going on the shelf without the ring on it. I brought it up to show you. But what you could do, peanut butter jar covers fit on here too, so you don't need to go buy these. I have a ton of peanut butter jar covers, and I use these as well. So if that makes you feel better because you're afraid it might pop off, that's your option. But these, you can get these covers as well. That's just my preserving salt. I don't use a lot of salt, but when I'm processing some food, I put a little bit in. So that's one thing. But I want to show you how I do this, because I do it for my gluten-free crackers. The box that these came in, 3 servings. The box for these, 26 servings. Same cost. They kill those of us who are gluten-free. Hopefully I'll be able to make my own gluten-free crackers soon, but I haven't gotten to that point where I'm doing that. Alright, so the lid's here. I'm going to use, I am going to put this unit on, and I am going to use a brake bleeder. This here is an attachment that you buy. It's separate from the vacuum sealers that are out there. And vacuum sealers, they're affordable, but to use them can be expensive, just like canning, okay? Because they don't give you the bags for free. You have to buy the bags. You might get a few. So I think vacuum sealing might be cheaper than processing your food and stuff, the way that I do with the water bath and the pressure canner and stuff like that. Because the pressure canner, the meats that I preserved, it was 75 minutes. It's a long time. It's on my gas stove. I fill my gas stove up once a year, so I'm not too upset about that. And I use my oven and stove all the time, but I try to make bulk stuff, if that makes any sense. But anyways, because I'm trying to cut back, I don't use the vacuum sealer, but if you have it, that's an affordable way for you to preserve your foods, including the crackers, including you have leftovers and you don't have Ziploc containers to throw in your refrigerator or whatnot. That's one way. Or if you're trying to get something to go camping, those are some options. So you get your brake bleeder. You put the tube on it. This comes with the whole brake bleeder kit, all kinds of fun stuff in there. This is all I'm using out of it. Put the end on. You'll see that there are some numbers. Use the outside numbers. They go up to 5, 10, 15. The number I'm going for is 10 to get the seal I want. It comes with a little black attachment, and you stick that in the hole that you would for the for the vacuum sealer. So we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to pump this up to 10. Okay? And nice thing is you get upper body exercise, okay? So don't complain when it hurts. You're doing this for a cause. Food preservation and body strength. And if you heard that suck, that means that it's sealed. No guarantees, but let's check and see. Take this off. Lift it up. That is sealed. And then you turn it up, hand away. This is sealed. I don't want to move it too much. Isn't that pretty? So that's another way. Make sure you label. Even though I can see that these are snack crackers, I'll be labeling that with a Sharpie. You can use canning lids from when you canned your fruit and vegetables in your pressure canner or your water bath. Just boil the lids, as I've mentioned before. Boil the lid so it softens that rubber seal. Dry it, let it dry, and then you can use it. Now, some people are using oxygen absorbers, and you can do that. I don't put an oxygen absorber and seal it. I don't vacuum seal it at the same time. The oxygen absorbers aren't free. They're not expensive, but I just choose not to. You do not want to use oxygen absorbers for sugars unless you want to rock. Not many people like it when our sugars go to rock, like brown sugar can sometimes. But so you want to be careful with that. But one thing that I have done, if you have any of these in your house, these are the ones with the lids. Sometimes the stores, I can't even think of them. I haven't been in some of these stores in a long time. I'll think of it. No, I'm not gonna. TJ Maxx, those type stores. Sometimes they have shelves that have like leftovers and stuff, and I've gotten a few of these there, and they're less expensive. I haven't been in that store in over 2 years. I haven't even been in Joann's since after I finished making masks, and even then I stopped going there because it was just too much for me. So I ordered my fabric online, or I went to a fabric store that's right in town that fixes my sewing machines. So I don't know store names as much as I used to, like off the top of my head. But anyways, I went on a tangent, but that sometimes happens with me. So what I do with this here are some soup crackers. My husband likes them in his soup. So what I do here is, and I'm so proud of him, he uses this container. To him is the perfect measure for how many crackers he wants in his bowl of soup. And that's great. I think it's perfect. This is an oxygen absorber, and I do put it in this even though this provides a seal. And the reason is I have at times discovered that sometimes they don't, if somebody doesn't make sure it's shut, it doesn't get totally sealed, but it'll be on there. The oxygen absorber to me is just extra protection to safeguard my food, and that's why I do it. Now, other things that you can do. Now I have a jar here that I got honey in. You can, it gets a nice suction there. I think if you use an oxygen absorber, and I would do this, is I would use this. And you can tell this is a good seal if you can see that rubber around it. That's what makes it seal. And this does fit here. And it does go up to the pressure, and you can feel it go off. Here, I'll show you. This is empty, so it's going to go up fast. And you heard that hiss. That tells me that it did its job. But that does not guarantee that this will be the same seal as before. But it's an extra security. Throw an oxygen absorber in there, and you can put some things in here as well. Well, especially if you have just say I'm almost done with these, but I don't want a big jar of it anymore, I can just put them in a smaller container because I'm almost done. Unfortunately for me, this would be a temptation because it's there. So I would rather have that stored, put away where I have to walk to it, get it out, and then reseal it. So, and can I do it? I can, because I'm doing a lot better, because I've decided I am not going to let the world events affect my health. And gaining weight has affected my health, and that's done. All right. So how else can you preserve some food and you don't have a water bath and pressure canner? If you've never fermented your veggies, start. It's a pretty amazing thing to do. It's pretty simple. I will try to do another video on recipes and stuff like that, but you can get a lot of this online. So, but here are some carrots and onions and parsley and some other stuff, and these are delicious. This is my garlic, and I label everything. I have taken these out, and they're softer because they've been fermented, and I keep them in the refrigerator. And because it has a plastic, I don't have, sometimes I put a seal, like one of those seals on it, but I didn't on this one. I don't think I did on this either. Yes, I did. On this one, I did. That way when you open it, you hear that. So I don't know why this one doesn't. So I do that, and these are really, really good. You can do onions. You can, any vegetable you have, you can ferment. You can even ferment your fruit. Just make sure they're really well cleaned and stuff like that, but this is what I enjoy doing. I've got sauerkraut going in my crock right now. I just checked it, and it's doing really well. You just want to make sure that the water is above. This has cabbage. What else did I put in here? Onion, and I put some spices, and then I took the outer cabbage leaf and I put it on top, and then I put, they have some, I don't want to take it out, sorry. They have some weights. This one came with 2 weights. You put it down, and you want to make sure that that cabbage leaf is above all your vegetables. And this just preserves. It's been on the counter for a few days. I just sampled it a little bit ago, and it's coming along. I really like the where it is right now, so I could easily just say, okay, this is ready, put it in a jar and put it in the refrigerator. You just really have to do it to what's your liking. So you can do fermenting. That is another option, and as you can see, I made 3 jars of this, and I'm still going through it. So I like it. And plus, my food is not going bad, because with the carrots and stuff, I've gotten so disgusted in buying carrots at the store. And I think I may have shared that before, because the food is not coming in, so it's staying good. Some of it's going bad before I get a chance. So when I go to the store, I bring the food in and I work with it right now. The next thing I'll be working on is I'm going to make a sweet onion relish. I looked up a recipe. Somebody mentioned it. They didn't have a recipe on their post. I said, ooh, that sounds really good. So I went to the store after we had to bring our car to the mechanic just for an oil change. But the car gets to go back again for another visit, we'll call it. But so I needed to get a few things, and my husband did, so I said, I just want to get some green peppers. That's what's going to go in it. And I already had the onions, so I'm going to be making some sweet onion relish. And that's another thing that you can do. And if you don't make a large batch, you can make a small one that goes in your refrigerator. So think outside the box of what you can do so that you don't feel like you're doing nothing. Can you buy a jar of relish? Yeah, absolutely. Can you buy a jar of sweet onion relish? Probably not. But just think, sweet onion relish would be amazing on top or within meatloaf, a hamburger if you're having hamburgers, any of your meat dishes, or even if you wanted to have it as a side with any dish that you're having. Okay, some of you are not meat eaters, and that's fine. I mean, we only eat meat a few days a week, so, but I'm sorry. I like that source of protein, and I get protein through a lot of vegetables. You can get your protein from a lot of sources. But that being said, there are ways that you can preserve. I hope these have helped those of you who are watching to have some ideas of what you can do without a canner, without a pressure canner. You can still freeze. Use your your vacuum sealer as a means if you have one. Now, the vacuum sealer is more affordable than the others, although if you get the bags. Another way to acquire these things, if you have children or you have parents who give you birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, or any of that kind of stuff, put it on a wish list. That's what our whole family does. That we don't necessarily have to buy off Amazon, but it's a great place to put all your wishes, and people can say, "Oh, I saw that at the store. I can get that for her." My kids, my son-in-law works for a place that he can get my husband tools that he puts on his list. So when at Christmas time he got a tool that he was like, "This is awesome," and so sometimes we forget that people want to do gifts for us. So if you have a wish list on Amazon or whatever, you just say, "Yeah, I've got a wish list here," and people, your family most especially, they want to do something for you. So you can say, "This is what I need. If you could help me there," even a box of jars. Don't be afraid to ask. That's easier for me to say than to do. I do put it on my list for my kids, and I do not have a problem paying other people for things. Like I went to a lady who was selling some perennials. She had so many, and I was able to get some herbs that I've been wanting. I have the seeds to grow them. At least I have a plant that's starting, because the seeds will take a while before I can harvest from them. I didn't have a problem paying her for them, and but it's not something I don't generally get for free, because I don't always get them. But sometimes there's some gifts out there that are free, and so don't be afraid to ask. Most especially if somebody says, "Is there anything I can do? What can I do for you for your birthday? What can I do for your Christmas?" If people are asking you that, and it's generally your family, say, "Hey, I got this list," or, "Hey, this is something I really want." They might be able to help you there. And if they can't, they'll just say, "You got something more conservative," they might be able to help. Maybe all they can do is get you a box of jars. Maybe they might have jars in their cellar that they're no longer using. So think outside the box, and if they have like the old jars, like these with the locks and stuff, I just put my my clover in this that I washed and dehydrated today. You can use those with oxygen absorbers as long as they have a new seal, and you can get those inexpensively. Those will work for your dry goods as long as you put an oxygen absorber in it. So try to think outside the box of what you can do to put up some dry goods for yourself. Dehydrate in your oven. My husband's going to try. I have all kinds of plans for him. He's such a lucky chap. He might not think so, but I think he's very lucky to have me keep his thought process. He thinks I'm nuts, but I do kind of draw out what I want, and we work together as how can we get this solved, and we just work together and get that done. But anyways, I hope that this has been helpful, and I hope I didn't add more stress by mentioning that you might have to buy jars or oxygen absorbers or even a brake bleeder. I'm not trying to stress people out. I'm just trying to help those who don't have the resources as to what they can do. How do I know about this stuff? My husband and I have gone through ups and downs. Married 42 years. We have 3 kids. There were times that some were sick all the time. And so it's like it cuts into your budget, and you just don't have money. So you always have to think outside the box as to how can I make ends meet. And when you have great times, you really really, really enjoy that time. But sometimes you don't. We still don't go out to dinner very much because for us it's not economical, and plus I can make that same food at home, so the dollars crunch in my head. But does that mean I don't deserve to go out? I wouldn't use the word deserve. We just find that we don't enjoy going out, but does it mean that I would not enjoy a dinner out? Anybody would. So I haven't gone out since the pandemic because we've ordered out. But I'm no longer interested in going out to dinner. And so we might order something from a place and then just do a pickup because it's usually a night that I don't want to cook. But the nice thing about preserving your food, and keep this in mind, is that if you need food and you can't go out, there's a winter storm, or the electricity is out because a storm came through, you got something to throw together. If you can't do that, okay, you can't make stew, all right, and put it in a few jars, that's fine. What you want to do then is just, pick up an extra jar of or can of foods that you like. Don't be afraid to pick up canned meat, canned whatever, because if you're in a situation that you don't have food, those shelf-stable items will be able to put together a meal. And that's what, like tuna fish, you can make a sandwich. You don't need electricity or gas to cook tuna. You can make a sandwich. Learn how to make bread. Learn how to do all sorts of stuff. And the more you learn to do for yourself, the more you save at the grocery store. So I'm going to end this, and I pray that this has been helpful. I pray that it's a help for everybody. And I hope that you have a great evening and that the upcoming weekend is a pleasant weekend for you. Have a great night and God bless.